So, the biggest question we get asked every single week is, why did we move to Portugal? How easy was it? And what were our top reasons for choosing Portugal over everywhere else in the world?
Really great questions. And in this episode, we're going to talk to you about 7 good reasons why we moved to Portugal.
Crusoe, can you say number 1 is serendipity? Well done!
Number 1, serendipity. Serendipity.
Serendipity, such a great word. And it is so applicable to our move to Portugal because it did happen completely by chance and it really feels like it was meant to be.
So recently a guy from Poland left us a comment and he said, you take a chance on a cream cake, but you don't really take a chance on buying a house. And that's really, really true. We totally agree with him, except for the fact that, well, you kind of...
Isn't every purchase of a property taking a chance? Because you're never going to know for sure whether or not some place is right for you unless you take a chance.
And what we were taking a chance on wasn't the big picture. We were taking a chance, I suppose, on the location. And that is a really important thing. When we purchased, we were thinking about purpose and we were thinking about lifestyle. And we'll get onto those things a little bit later.
We knew what kind of life we wanted. We knew what kind of lifestyle we wanted. And the question we asked ourselves when we walked through the gates of this farm was, could we live that lifestyle on this property? The answer was yes.
Absolutely.
So we took a chance. As we've said in previous videos, it was only the second property we ever saw, and we, yes, could have spent months, maybe even years, looking at property after property after property, looking at hundreds of them.
Yep.
And each one would have had its pros, each one would have had its cons, and we could have gone round and round and round and round in circles, like we know many of you are doing, because we get so many messages saying that you're searching for something like this and you haven't found it, and where did we find it, and how did we find it, and what was it about it. And I think what I'd say to all of you is, take a chance. Let serendipity be your guide. Look at the big picture, chase the lifestyle, and don't be scared to work hard to make something out of what you've got and to create your perfect life and your perfect dream, whether that be in Portugal or elsewhere.
Yeah, be brave. So, number 1.
Done.
Number 2. Serendipity. Number 2, money. Money. I was going to say this is a stone table, and it's one of the things that we could see when we came to the property. It's one of the big selling points, which seems a little bit ridiculous right now because all it is a stone table. But when we saw it, we thought, you know what? Somebody has truly loved this property in the past.
And we could envisage our family here making memories for ourselves, but we'll talk more about that because it's another point a little bit later. For now,
money.
Let's talk money.
We bought this place for around about 90,000 euros, which compared to UK house prices is thrift. It's very, very cheap. And so when you're coming to Portugal, one of the considerations that you might make is value for money. What am I getting? There are houses on the market in Portugal that are 25, 30,000 euros, big pieces of land. They are more south and they're more central.
Exactly. But it's a huge reason why there are so many people coming to Portugal searching for properties where they could adopt a similar lifestyle to the one which drove our decision making as well, because there is affordable property to be had here still, certainly when compared, as John said, to other places like the UK. We could never ever have afforded to purchase 3 acres of land in the UK.
I think it's important at this stage as well to acknowledge, especially for our Portuguese watchers, that there is currently a housing crisis going on in Portugal. And it's not dissimilar to the one that's going on in the UK at the moment and other countries around the world, where house prices are really unaffordable for local people. And so when we as foreigners come into the land and we start buying houses and we talk about them as being thrift, as being better value for money, I suppose there's an element that we must remember, that for local people, some of these properties are truly unaffordable. My personal take on that is the same as it is in the UK. Most of these unaffordable properties are really in cities rather than in the countryside. This property here was very well priced. It was very well priced, I think, for the Portuguese as well as the English, and we purchased it on a local Portuguese website. So we know we weren't on one of those websites, and there are a lot out there, translated English speaking websites where the house prices are overinflated, so be careful for those ones.
And we are fully in support of anybody who kind of feels frustration towards a situation where expats come into a place, they buy the properties, they drive the prices up and make them unattainable for local people. Of course that's frustrating and it's very upsetting for local people, and all we can say is our hearts do go out to anybody who is unable to pursue a dream because of financial reasons. It's difficult. It sucks. It does. And we never ever take for granted the fact that we were very fortunate to be able to afford this property, although compared to UK prices it's thrift. The bottom line is 90,000 euros is not an insurmountable amount of money, and we were very fortunate to be able to find that money, to be able to purchase this property, to be able to pursue that lifestyle, and we are acutely aware of that.
Yeah, very, very grateful too. There is another financial reason that I'll get onto in a minute, and it's probably the most important one in terms of decision making. When we purchased this property, the idea wasn't that we would come in here and suddenly try and turn a profit and sell it on. That's not our ambition here. Our ambition is to create a life filled with purpose, and this piece of land gives us exactly that.
The last point on money is something that really drove our decision-making process, and that is that the cost to own a property in Portugal every year is incredibly low. Things like property taxes and council taxes are, almost negligible. When you compare it again to that in the UK, it's almost 1,000 times more expensive in the UK than it is in Portugal, which is why when we decided to purchase the property and we weren't 100% certain that we would end up living here full time, we weren't really sure what shape this property would take in our life, the risk was fairly low because the cost to have it each year wasn't going to break the bank and wouldn't have become an enormous financial burden. And that is something that makes taking a chance financially in Portugal a lot easier.
Yeah, let's look at those numbers really quickly. In the UK, council taxes, you're looking at around about £150, $200 a month, whereas here is around about $100 a year.
Yep. Believe it or not.
Right, what are we talking about next?
Number three. Lifestyle.
Lifestyle, love it. Number 3.
Lifestyle.
Love it.
No better place to talk about it either than up in our incredible vegetable garden, which has been bringing us so much joy over the last couple of months. This is the lifestyle that we wanted. We wanted to be able to grow our own food. We wanted to be able to kind of journey towards sustainability. We wanted to have the space to create different things, to try different things. And there's also the aspect of our YouTube channel.
It's such an idealistic value or idea to come and work your land, to till your land, to labour the land until it loves you back and produces and gives you all of the food that you're going to need. Tara and I are pretty much plant-based, and so are the boys. And so what that means is this land really can give us everything we need it to. That doesn't mean that occasionally I don't enjoy a chorizo or a really big steak, because I do. But the idea of having land that will give us everything we needed, it was a really big draw. And so when we were thinking about buying a property anywhere in the world, not necessarily Portugal, we really thought that we wanted to have some land so that we could have space.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there was the subject of the life we lead and the lifestyle we have because of this YouTube channel.
Yeah. Before we bought in Portugal, we had a travel channel.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't a particularly successful travel channel, but it was super fun.
Yeah.
And when we came to Portugal, we obviously knew that what we would do here would be a kind of source of content to feed our YouTube channel, but we didn't really appreciate how much of a success it would be.
Yeah.
And how much of a draw it would be for people.
Well, success to us, I think, it's all relative. There's Cara and Nates and Eamon and Becks of the world who've got huge channels, but success to us meant earning enough money so that we didn't have to worry about everything else, about having another job to sustain us, about having to go and work a 9 to 5, so that we could spend time on our land working.
Yeah. And I think this is a question we get just as much as we get the why did you move to Portugal question is, how are you able to afford this when you clearly don't have a job? We do. This is our job. YouTube is a full-time job, and it's what we do to earn money. And that's a really big thing, I think, if you're thinking of making a move like this, is how can you fit your current lifestyle to the lifestyle you're trying to create? Does it fit? Can you merge the two? Can you work from home? Can you find a job where you could work from home? Can you free up some time? Can you not? Is it getting a job a fact that you need to consider? These are all questions that you in your own personal space would need to answer. But for us, in our life and in our lifestyle, with the way we work, this was absolutely perfect and was a huge driving force in why we decided to move to Portugal.
Without you guys watching this channel, without you guys getting involved, leaving us comments, clicking on sponsored links, all that kind of jazz, subscribing, all that kind of stuff, we would have to get real jobs, if you like.
It's a very real job, though.
yeah.
It's really a lot of work.
But here's the thing, we are able to combine sharing with you with the work that we do every day. And make no mistake, having a vegetable garden and creating these projects is a full-time job in itself. So it's jolly hard work. And
two children are a full-time job.
Yeah, that's true. Crusoe and Sawyer.
It's definitely not easy, but we wouldn't change it for the world.
No, we wouldn't. And at this point, very important to say thank you very much to our local friends, Joao in particular, who is our neighbour's son, Armando's son, who definitely, without him, none of this garden and a lot of the projects around here would just have not been possible.
No, exactly. Well, they certainly wouldn't have reached the extent that they've reached, because we have been in the life chapter of having two teeny tiny people to look after and just didn't have the capacity to be able to achieve what Joao's helped us to achieve. So Joao, muito obrigada.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Very good. Okay, so number 4.
This leads really nicely onto that. It's got everything to do with the little people we've just mentioned.
Exactly. Let's go.
Never wanted any other life than the one I'm living. Get lost inside the haze lights of my 3 children. When she pulls me into a gentle kiss, ties me up inside a circle. There ain't nothing that I'd ever miss except the life I'm living. I've never wanted any other dream than the one I'm dreaming. Travel through the hills of Carolina with no
Moment of truth. Oh gosh, oh gosh.
Every mile echoes far and wide. Got my pride and joy laughing by my side. I never had a wish to throw across the sky. And the one I'm dreaming. So let's ride, load 'em up and head to Georgia. And let's sing till the stars show what's in store. And let's dance on the top of every mountain down to the shore. Then we'll put them down to rest, for tomorrow holds another day for living. I never wanted any other home than the one inside them. Fishing holes for days and farms to play in. Oh, sounds like heaven. Running wild among the open plains. There's no fiction, 'cause it's all the same.
Not ready yet, Chris. It's gotta go all
Wouldn't
the
want
way.
it any other way than the way I'm living. So let's ride, load 'em up and head to Georgia. And let's sing till the stars show what's in store. And let's dance on the top of every mountain down to the shore. Then we'll put them down to rest, for tomorrow holds another day for living. When the days are long and the quiet's gone, it'll be alright, 'cause this is all I want. And let's ride, load 'em up and head to Georgia. And let's sing till the stars show what's in store. And let's dance on the top of every mountain down to the shore. Then we'll put them down to rest.
No,
For
250.
tomorrow holds another day for living.
It starts to get hot.
Doesn't it? The British love to talk about the weather.
So we'll try and keep it short.
Yeah, absolutely. There are 2 points about the weather that we really should touch on before moving off of this topic. The first is Portugal's weather as an entirety, and the second is the nuances within Portugal of their weather. So we'll touch on the second one second. First of all, Portugal and its weather.
It's lovely.
It's pretty nice.
So obviously, coming from the UK, we were used to pretty rainy days, grey days. And they're not all like that, but there is an awful lot of rain and an awful lot of grey in the UK. And the summers are not very reliably summery. Portugal had
Happening
far
fast.
nicer summers than the UK. You can pretty much rely on really nice, warm, hot, dry summers and milder winters than you would get in the UK, with more sunnier days than you would in the UK. And having grown up in Africa, I really, really need sunshine and blue skies.
Absolutely.
Too much grey and too much cloud gets me down, and we just needed to find a place that gave us a climate that meant that we could live the lifestyle we were looking for and to be outside.
Yeah, and like we were just talking about with the kids, being outside would be pretty tricky if it rained a lot. I lived in Finland for a long time, and the weather up there is completely different from the weather down here, but it's dry and there's a lot of snow on the ground. And so you are still able to go out even when it's really, really cold. You just dress a little bit differently.
The other thing that John mentioned, of course, is the nuances within Portugal. We chose to be in northern Portugal, whereas a lot of people, I think, who are looking for this kind of lifestyle and finding a very affordable land will head towards central Portugal. The reason we chose the north is because it's a little bit greener. You do get a bit more rain up here. We like the green, we like trees, we like shade, we like the slightly cooler winters. And this climate really suits us personally perfectly.
Yeah.
You might be somebody who really loves the baking hot sun and needs to be by a beach, in
Well,
which case the Algarve is your bag.
Absolutely.
And we're not really beach people.
No, we're not. I have been on a beach. But as you can see, it's the middle of July right now, and all around us, it's still pretty green.
Yeah, it may
Which
be.
brings us on to point number 6. And we'll do it because it'll be a real quick one. Location, location, location. So we've just talked about the weather being one of the reasons why we chose the north, but more specifically, our location is between two towns, and the location really fit the bill. So when we started looking at houses, what we definitely knew was that we didn't want to hear any traffic, right?
Yeah, that was the kind of non-negotiable point, was that we didn't want to hear traffic. We also needed to be within easy reach of hardware stores to be able to do the renovations we knew we were going to be able to do. The other part of our location that was really key was being close enough to an airport, and we are about 45 minutes from Porto International, which means that we can hop all around Europe and actually to quite a few international destinations really easily, and it means that lots of people can come and visit us without it being too much of a hassle to go and fetch them and to have them as part of the life here on the farm.
Yeah, and we do get lots of friends and relatives visiting. Again, imagine living 2.5 hours away from your nearest international airport. That's a 6-hour round trip once you spent time waiting. For whoever you're picking up. That's a full day just to go and pick people up. Porto, very close. We just nip there, come back. And again, if we need those bigger hardware stores, they're all right there too. Finally, on the point of location, we are able to access the facilities that you need. Access what? Things like
Fibre optic broadband,
pretty important if you're a YouTuber.
water, electricity.
Yeah. Stuff that you take for granted in, well, most nearly every other home, unless you're going to come and renovate something.
Point.
Last point.
Number 7.
Number 7. Let's do it. That's my little boy, very excited. I think he'll be... Digger, Crusoe, digger!
Excited. He's standing in the kitchen going, dig a sand! Dig a sand!
Go on, quick, Crusoe, quick!
Sand!
Cold? Ice, yes, cold, Crusoe.
Final reason?
Well, Our family motto is be brave, think big, explore. And I guess the final reason is because we had a dream. And it sounds a little bit, I don't know, airy-fairy almost. But I imagine, yeah, but it's true. But I imagine when I was a kid, I watched a movie called South Pacific. Many of you out there might have watched that movie too. I've actually been to the beaches where they filmed it. It's truly beautiful. And in that movie, there's a song that goes, happy, 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 happy talk. And one of the words or one of the lines in that is, if you don't have a dream, how are you going to have a dream come true?
Love it.
Yeah.
And we're pretty sure that most of you, in fact, almost all of you, have a dream of some description. It may not be to live a life like we're living, but it may be just that. And our kind of reasons for ending up where we've ended up is our little life motto. Be brave with your choices, think big with your ideas, and explore every possibility. And you never know, your dreams might just come true too. So we really hope this video has been useful. Perhaps it gave you something to think about in relation to your own life. Perhaps it made you think about something you hadn't considered yet. We'd love to hear your feedback. Please, if you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and join us for our journey here in Portugal. We share 2 videos every week, and we share as openly and honestly as we can about life, the ups and downs, and everything that we get up to here. So we'd love to have you around for the ride.
We would. And just very, very finally, you're probably out there going, wow, how do I make that come true? You don't need to ask us where we found our property from. The answer is imovirtual.pt. It's like the Right Move, or it's like a website, a local website that has all of the properties for the entire of Portugal.
Well, I don't know if it has all of the properties, but it has a lot of properties.
Yeah.
And the link's in our description, so check it out.
Yeah, have a look for yourself.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Remember, be brave.
Think big.
Explore. Cheers, folks.
You got the heart that is bigger than the sun. You got the smile that is wider than the fun. Whatever you imagine will come true. Whatever you wish upon a star will do. And there is only one thing you should really love. It is your heart when it sings up above. Hey, you over there, it's time to get up and make the world shine. It's time to get back to feeling so fine. You can dance or sing, or you can sing or dance. You got to find the voice that was lost.